Hello and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast. Well, we have European champions crowned. We're going to talk about both Challenge and Champions Cup final before diving into the final round of the Premiership and looking into the quarterfinals of the URC. Joining me as always is my lovely co-host Harry. How are you getting on, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, man. Just been a good weekend of rugby. I think for the most part, good games, enjoyable. Yeah, just excited to see what happens for the final week in Prem and URC now after we've seen the champions be crowned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely had a ball of the weekend because I was down in Wales for the week for the rugby. So happy days. I absolutely loved it. Great time. The driving sucked. Definitely
Yeah,
not advised. Don't advise that to anyone.
I'm not sure why you did that. If it was me, I know the trains are pricey right now, but I think I'd have 100% got on a train.
Just I don't even know why I done it. But yeah, 11 hours on Thursday.
No, not when you've been drinking all weekend as well. No, not for me.
No, that was before we started drinking. That was going
Oh
down.
God. Oh God.
7 hours coming home though.
Oh, that's not
Smashed,
bad.
smashed it coming home. I was determined to get home. So there we go. But yeah, we'll start Friday Night Lights. Bath versus Lyon. Just over 35,000. I wanted more, but yeah, what a game. Bath 2 for 2 this season. Challenge Cup champions, and they absolutely decimated Leon. 37 points to 12. Yeah, what a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's that power game, really. It's the power game and the quality of player that in squad depth that Bath have in the sense that they can just maintain what they want to do for the whole game. I mean, it helps when you've got a 9-10 partnership in Spencer Russell that just complements each other so well. You've got Spencer who can just dictate a game and just run the game and just be that calm, steady presence who's just going to maintain everything. And then Russell has the opportunity to, because he has that guy helping him throughout the whole match, just be the mercurial talent that he is. Although he didn't quite go full I am magician moment, he was a bit more pragmatic, kicking at goal,
Yeah.
but didn't miss a kick. And
No,
realistically, Bath sort of said, right, we're going to go to our basics, and we're just going to outmuscle them, and they really did. They just seemed in complete control the entire time. I mean, the only time you sort of thought, oh, have Leon got this, is when they scored in the first few minutes. But then Bath just kept ticking over and over and over, and yeah,
yeah.
I don't think you really want to see a 37-12 in a final for
No,
me,
no, I get what you
but
say.
but when it's as comprehensive a victory, you're like, okay, can see why it's as comprehensive as it is.
Do you know how I see it? I'm taking nothing away from Bath because they were definitely the deserving team.
Yeah,
They've been on fire all season. They're too good for the Challenge Cup. I know they did drop down from the Champions Cup and they were unfortunate with the results, but we spoke about it briefly. I didn't put that episode out because I didn't have time, but we did say Bath wanted the Champions Cup and kind of have to settle for the Challenge Cup.
yeah. I they It's sort of like that advert where, if to use like a football analogy, like when in the Champions League you get one of the Champions League teams who drops down into the Europa, and then you get one of those teams who typically win that competition because they have dropped down. And
Yeah.
that's what it feels like with Bath. Because let's not forget, the opening match, I think, in the entire Champions Cup format was Storm Dara, Bath La Rochelle, and La
Mhm.
Rochelle just they because they're a big pack, they sort of managed to beat up Bath and managed to win because in the most torrid conditions in a match ever. And then
Mhm.
they had the very poor officiating of the Leinster game when they went and played them. So they were sort of set up to fail straight away with the pool. But arguably, if that, I would say that, I mean, this is going back months now and it doesn't really have an effect on the result. But
Mhm.
if they had managed to get that win against La Rochelle, Bath probably would have been like further down to the final, and I think probably could have beat one of these big French packs. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, it just they looked too good to be in the Challenge Cup. Like realistically, and I'm going to slam my own team here. Like Quins were not particularly good for a lot of the season. We had a lot of bad patches, but realistically, that was because of where Bath are. They should have been in the Champions Cup, and Quinn should have been the
Yeah.
one to drop down to challenge. But obviously, that's not how it's worked. But
See, this is where I'm actually excited for next season because Exeter Chiefs will be in the Challenge Cup. I'm like, you know what? We can actually do fairly well there, or should do.
no,
And that should be
absolutely.
a good run. But
I think, especially for a team that's been short on confidence this year, as Exeter have, you've got your new signings coming in. Who I mean, realistically, you want to see Lenny Kittal play in the Champions Cup, not the Challenge, for like the 1 year that he's here. But
if he wins it,
if he wins it, he goes home with a European trophy and more history for Exeter. So
yeah.
yeah. But in the game, I mean, I think the big talking point is, and I will bring it up. I'll be the bad guy.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll be the bad guy. That Sam Underhill decision.
I
Mm,
mean,
it, it,
I managed to message you because it wasn't as busy on the Friday, so I was actually able to text you during the game, and I was like, "That's a red. That's a straight
yeah.
red to me."
Oh
And
no, yeah.
credit where credit's due, Holly Davis, and this is what I want from referees. If you can explain your reasoning, fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing that she said that there was a late change in direction from David Niniashvili, which there was. He did
It
slight
was.
like he was going. If you look at it as if this I'm the camera, he was going forward and then sort of like a little shutter step or something. It was
Mhm.
very, but and Underhill was always coming at like in a hunched way,
He
and
was, yeah.
but the but the thing is, I think that is a massive advert for why we need or why there is the perception that we need the 20-minute red card. Because I straight away said that's a 20-minute red. I didn't say it was a red card because I feel like a straight red card these days is for blatant thuggery or like you have right, you have just absolutely targeted that man's head. We can see what you've done. Like
Yeah.
you've done something that is what I would call like foul play now. Like that's foul play. And then more of a that's a technical offense, which I think if you change the language, it's a bit like okay, but the way that she explained the decision of there was a late change in direction, and okay, I can see how you've reached that decision, but it's
Mm.
just, but I just think that there was all of this talk about trying to help referees take away some of the pressure, and I genuinely feel like she did not. I'm not going to say that she did not want to red card him because that's not fair, but I think there is a chance that in the back of her mind,
Yeah.
if I red card him and I'm not right, I'm
Someone to do.
going to get abused online. And the referee should not be thinking about it. She or he should be completely focused on the game and saying, right, what is the outcome I want here? This should be a red card. And
Yep.
I just think that the fact that referees are under so much pressure to get everything right in an age of social media where there's guys like us who are commenting on it, and then there's the horrible guys who hide behind username 67241 who will just say the most abusive things. They might even bring up her gender, which is just not the point. And they might
Well,
do that as well. But it's this whole thing of we want to take the pressure off referees. So
yeah.
in that instance, I look at that and thought that's a 20-minute red card because he's got that wrong. He should not be on the
Mhm.
pitch, but I don't think Bath should be down to 14 for the whole game. But I do think that regardless of that, if it was a yellow or a red, Bath were down to 13 at one point and Leon couldn't bloody score. So
Well, there was that as well. I actually thought, well, Muir was very lucky to not get red carded because I was just so like, you're not getting that ball.
yeah,
You've
his I think a red would have been harsh, but I don't. If that had happened, I don't think people would have overly said anything. But I haven't seen anywhere near as many people talk about that as I have the Underhill one.
no,
But
I don't know
I,
if it's just because I was in the stadium and because for all intents and purposes, I was a neutral this weekend. So
yeah,
anything that came near me, I'm like, way, or stuff like that. But when I seen Will Muir take out, was it Nini Ashvili? Was he unlucky twice?
Oh God, I don't. I
Anyway,
might have been. It was.
just
It might have been
like
Demortier.
nowhere near the ball. Didn't even look like he had his eyes on the ball and just clips him at the knee and then flips him. I'm like, that's really
That
stupid.
that's really reckless. Yeah.
Yeah. But going back to the people saying that, oh, it's because of her gender, I kind of think Lawrence Dallaglio did it. He was, I didn't hear it because again, I was at the ground. I was told what he said in like the post-match stuff. And he basically said was like Holly Davidson's not ready to referee the Six Nations. I'm like, well, that's not entirely true, is it?
That's.
And the
Oh.
way, and it was all because of all the decision making, and it came across as like, mate, just say you don't want a female ref. You'll be a dickhead for saying it, but at least you said it.
He's worried about his job, but he's trying to. Yeah. I don't know. That's. Yeah.
It came across as very.
Yeah.
This is why we don't have women refereeing in the Six Nations. I could be wrong. I might have completely picked that up wrong, but yeah, it did feel
Maybe.
very.
Maybe. But yeah. Despite. I actually felt that, and again, I will probably repeat myself later when we talk about the Champions Cup, but I just think in those instances, I know people don't want the TMO to get involved, but you've got a team there. You've got a
Yeah,
team there to say, I
yeah.
think you might be wrong there. Do you want to have another look? This is my opinion. And when they say, do you agree with the facts? The TMO can only just sort of go, I agree with the facts you've said, but I don't think I. But it's just a
Yeah,
bit.
what you said there, yes, I agree. But and then, no, that's fine. You agree? Yeah,
It's a
it's a
bit.
great area. It's never going
It's
to be solved, isn't it?
no. But I just
But
think that yeah, that's the only sour part of that game because otherwise Bath were totally dominant. They weren't gonna,
on it,
even if they went down to 14. They nearly beat Northampton when they went down to 14 in the final last year.
I'm glad you've kind of mentioned it because it came full circle. Ben O'Bano getting on the score sheet.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was good
very
for
good.
Benno. That was very good for Benno because he got unlucky with that last year. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was a
if
tough
he
one.
had if he had the two referees that officiated, he might have got a yellow card.
There we go.
He might have got a yellow card. Again, that's
So
another advert for 20-minute red for technical
yeah,
offences. And I was
absolutely.
really, and I will say, I was really against the 20-minute red because I thought that it encouraged foul play. In my
Yeah,
mind, I thought that. But the more I've seen, and I've seen lots of yellow or red cards in the last few weeks, I've been like, that's not harsh enough. That's too harsh. It needs to be that
yeah.
third.
You need that
Yeah.
middle.
I think that it's needed. I think it's needed, and I think that tackle was an advert for it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, do you know who I'm really happy for? Just because it actually silences so many critics. We're on YouTube, so I'm going to do it. Finn Russell.
I
10 years without a medal.
the amount of finals that he got to with Racing as well. The
Do you know that
amount
that annoyed me?
what was it like three finals with Racing?
Champions Cup, because extra one. Sorry. I love you, Finn, but my
You love
changes.
Exeter.
Yeah. I mean, if Finn goes to Exeter,
Oh wow.
we can't afford it.
You
We
could
can't
not
afford
pay him. You could not pay him.
that. Yeah, he was in Champions Cup final. I think he was in one or two top
He
14 finals.
he's
Yeah.
definitely was in one at some point. But yeah, it's kind of mad that
And then
however
Bath
many
last year. Yeah, it was just.
yeah, a lot of finals
So
that he's lost.
it caused a debate online, and I fully agreed with the people that were praising Finn. So again, with anything you do online now, you will get idiots. Let's just
Yeah.
clarify that right now. There'll be idiots on this probably, maybe potentially. They were on about like how great it is that Finn's lifted that voodoo of he's now finally won something yet again and can just hash on with it again and be Finn Russell. He doesn't have that weight on his shoulders. And there was people online saying like, how can he be a great player when you've not won anything? Well, you don't need to be a great. That comes down to being a great team. It's not just one man. Finn Russell did not single-handedly win the Challenge Cup. Did he have a big impact? Yes, of course he did. A player of that magnitude would have a big presence in a final. but he wasn't the
I
be
mean,
all.
the big one that I have to answer that is when people talk about all-time 15s, they put Jonah Lomu in, who never won the World Cup.
Well, that was the argument. So people were like, "How can Finn Russell be deemed the greatest 10 in the world when he doesn't win anything?" And the
Jonah
argument
Lomu,
was
greatest winger. Yeah, didn't win a World Cup.
Jonah Lomu changed the game, didn't win anything. I don't even think he won a Super Rugby. I could be wrong with that, but he
He dotted
genuinely didn't
around a
win.
lot, so I'm not entirely sure.
He didn't win much.
He won Tri Nations. He won that, and he won Bledisloe's. But
I could win a Tri Nations, not being rude. The amount of times the All Blacks won it, I could have won a bloody Tri Nations if I was eligible.
yeah, it's fair.
But like it was the same argument with I did a video talking about Duhan van der Merwe's try ratio and who he scored against. And again, people are like,
Yeah.
oh, he's never scored against South Africa.
Neither did Lomu.
Neither did Lomu. And I'm not comparing them, but you know what I mean? Like a great player is a great player regardless of team success. If the
Yeah.
team is successful, cool. Even better. Because you know who hasn't actually won as much as you think he has? DuPont.
It's two Champions Cups and maybe two or three top four teams with two Six Nations.
It's impressive, but it's not like stacks of trophies.
Well, it's not Owen Farrell with Saracens, who's got six Premierships,
Yeah.
three European Cups, and back-to-back Six Nations titles with a Grand Slam. I think he's got three. No, he's got four.
I'm not a fan of him either,
No, he's
but
got three. No, he's got three. I'm telling a lie there. He's got three.
like Johnny Sexton at Leinster won more than
Oh,
that.
four champion. No, was he part? No, two or three.
Three,
He's
that's
either
it.
won two or three Champions Cups. He hasn't won all four.
No, I think he has.
Um,
Yeah, he has.
Johnny Sexton's won all four for Leinster.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought their early ones were like with someone else
No,
at the hat.
because the first one was. Did he not orchestrate the first one against Saints?
In 2000.
It wasn't in 2000.
Oh, I don't actually know. I think that's a great sidetrack that we could go down, like trying to figure out old Champions Cup winners of the past. But I think I think we should talk about the one that we have just seen because that is fresh in our
Yes.
minds. That is
Well,
fresh in our minds.
there you go.
UPP.
Alele Bordeaux. And you know what? Great game. We'll talk about all the shenanigans afterwards.
Mm.
But that first half,
Oh my god.
unreal. And I will
Oh,
say it,
oh my god.
70,000 strong
Oof.
with the Principality with the roof shut.
Oh,
That might be the loudest, potentially the best club game I've ever been to.
I like how you caveated club game.
Definitely not. No, internationals always hits different.
Yeah.
So
It
sorry,
was.
just before we go into it, I've just looked. Yes, 6-1 all four.
Oh well.
Champ-
Okay. Well.
Four Champions Cups, one Challenge Cup, six Pro 14s, URC, whatever you call it. Five Six Nations, three Grand Slams, four Triple Crowns, and yeah.
He got five Six Nations.
09, 14, 15, 18, 23. Yeah, five.
Oh wow.
I'm not saying he started all that because obviously
No
O'Gara was
World
in
Cup.
there.
No World Cup semi-finals though.
And the Irish are just going to come at us now. Yeah. But yeah, the
I
actual,
had to say. I had to say it.
that's fair. The Champions Cup final this year, unreal. And you know what? Just before I proper dive into the game, get well soon, George Furbank, because that was horrific.
Oh, it was
That
awful.
might have been the worst injury I've ever seen in
But
in a stadium.
he's completely fine, which is the good thing. He's up. He showered. Well, we heard on the comms. He showered apparently. He showered. He's walking around. He's okay. He was sat
Good.
down with James Ram, and it's like he looked totally fine. It was more the. I think. I mean, I'm not going to say that. He's all right. He's better than what you think. It sort of looked like that he took a massive hit, and then they had to do it precautionary. I think he might have been all right to walk off, but he should not because the proper care was taken.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I mean that it was a frenetic game in that first half. I mean, Maxime Lecoux, and Matteo Jalibert. They are just proving for
Why does
me
for France,
why
yeah?
they should start for France over to. Oh God, I'm sorry, French. Over to Pod, no,
Well, wait a minute.
because
Wait a minute.
they
There's
were just phenomenal. Those
there
two.
is a
I
way.
mean,
There's a way to do it. There's a way to solve it. Right, Dupont is injured,
yes,
so look who starts.
he
Jalabert should be
should.
starting. Jalabert should be starting regardless.
Yes,
But
he should
when
be.
Dupont comes back, you can easily have Dupont and Jalabert, and guess what? It would still work.
I think the only argument against that is what they said about in the World Cup that it didn't work as well as they said it should. But I'm like, hang on, you lost by a point to the Springboks because of a charge down kick, which to this day I still think was illegal. Sorry, South Africans, I do think it was illegal.
Okay, okay.
And the only reason that Colby was able to get away with it is because he knows Ramos's kick routine. So that's why he gave it the ultimate. I've done this legally. I just think that it was, but that's me. I'm being a conspiracy theorist. But but yeah, uh, Luku and Jalibert were just the pair of them together. It was just almost like how I would imagine a French 10 should play. Like you've got
Yeah.
Luku being Le Petit General, like dictating, doing all those things. Like apparently he's the second top tackler as well in the stats after Pollock, Luku, with like 90,
Yeah, mad
which
shift, yeah.
which is ridiculous. But you look at it and go like Luku is dictating, he's captaining. He doesn't get his plaudits for France, so he's all in for Bordeaux. Love it. Bit like
Yeah.
Danny Kerr, all in for Quins when he wasn't getting picked for England. Bit like that. So my respect
Yeah.
to you, Maxine. Um,
We do need to
Jalibert
talk
just
about,
playing, just with the freedom of everything, like
yeah.
with the freedom of Bordeaux, and just like he copied Marcus Smith as well. That footwork at one point to get that offload, the basketball offload, that was dazzling, utterly
I mean,
brilliant.
yeah, I was just about to say that. I tried to set up Adam Coleman. Of all players on the wing, Adam Coleman gets a great finish.
Just
And
like
I don't mean that against Adam Coleman. Just you don't expect second rows that
out
far
on the
out
wing.
in a final of all places.
Well,
But
Alex Coles did
we
it as
do
well.
we need to talk about European Player of the Year. Mr. Two Tries, Damien Pinot. That's 14.
He smashed Ash's record out of the park, which I
He's
never thought that
absolutely
anyone. I
yeah.
never thought anyone would beat that Ash. I mean, to slightly sour the fact that he has got that record, I do think the new format, which does open up teams to going right. We don't have all the depth. We need to send a B team because we can't compete on all these fronts. And then you have a Peno just absolutely rip people apart and score 6 tries in a game.
Yeah.
He's,
And I know what you
he,
mean.
I mean, I think he finished on what 16 anyway. So if you took away those 6, then he still got 10. It's like, or you take away 3 of them, he's still broken Ashton's record. So
It's unreal. Yeah.
it is unreal. It's an unreal achievement. I'm not knocking it at all, but
I
it
will
is
say,
easier to do now.
I never noticed it properly until I was there on the Saturday. Damien Pinot is a fantastic finisher. He looks panicky though. And I don't mean that in a negative way. He just seems very, what do I do now?
Yeah,
And funnily enough, it works in his favour.
he just
Because
sort of.
he doesn't even know what he's going to do.
I think he just looks like he just doesn't know what he's doing. He probably does. Let's be real. He probably
Yeah,
does.
it's probably like a,
But I've heard like a lot of plausible people like Benjamin Kaiser just say that he's like Johnny May. He's like the French version of Johnny May. It doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, and he looks panicky and running around, but he scores loads of tries. I'm like, yeah, it's a fair analogy to make. I mean, he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, but
so just moving away from Bordeaux briefly, because I noticed this is, and it could come in handy potentially for the Lions.
mm,
Right, so we all know that Ty Burn is the main man that can play 5/6. He has the engine. He is in the boiler room.
the athleticism, yeah.
There's not many that can play 5 and 6 that well.
5, yeah, 5 and 6, yes. 4 and 6, a lot more.
5 and 6 especially, you can't do
Yeah,
often. Step up Alex Coles.
I've seen him play six before. I haven't seen him play six like that.
No, he was a man possessed. Two tries in the final, and yeah, he was just everywhere. But it got me thinking that if somebody goes down, Alex Coles just for that dynamic would come in very handy.
Yeah, no, he would be. He was very good that day. I would say that if Saints had won, he would have been my player of the match. But I'm
Yeah, that's fair.
sort of going deeper into the game and like sort of more. I'm gonna get a bit analytical here.
Here we go.
I just thought as I'm watching it, Mitchell and Finn Smith they did not have control of the game in the second half. Like Mitchell just looked like he was making a lot of silly decisions, and Finn Smith. And this has always been sort of my not critique, caveat to Finn Smith.
Okay.
In the bit because I'm going to attribute this because of his age, but because of how young he is, he's not always pulling teams out of the hole that they're in a way that you would expect a 10 to do. He's very good all year at look, let's get the team going. We're moving, we're moving. And I haven't always seen it from him. I've only seen it once or twice where if his team is stuck in a hole, he doesn't always get them out of it. Whereas, and that's a bit like George Ford as well, where in big moments, I sometimes feel like George Ford hasn't been able to do that, but I've seen him do it once or twice. Whereas
Yeah.
guys like Owen Farrell and Marcus Smith and Johnny Sexton and Dan Bigger and Finn Russell, the reason why they have been their country's number one is because they pull the rabbit out of the hat and go, I'm going to go do something. Or maybe not even individually. Dan Bigger will be like, I'm going to hit this kick and it's going to do something. Johnny Sexton, I'm going to wrap around and run this line. Marcus Smith, I'm going to goose step and go through. Faz, I'm going to chuck
Grab
this
the
wonder
grab the game by
pass.
the scruff. Grab the game by the
Yeah,
scruff of the
grab
neck.
the
Yeah.
game by the scruff of the throat. And I just felt like that is what Luku and Jalibert did. They
Hmm.
grabbed the game. That was their game. Luku and Jalibert were like, I'm running this game. And again, sort of a comparison of the thing. I felt like Bordeaux had the edge physically. I mean, the fact that Saints had the amount of injuries in the backline that they did meant that they didn't have the
Yeah.
same fluidity. They didn't have George Furbank helping Finn Smith. Again, that's another caveat I have because I'm not slamming Finn Smith. They targeted Pollock in the sense of like every time Pollock was trying to do something, they had two guys on him. It's like, nope, you're not doing anything, which is ultimate sign of respect because the lad is 20. That is brilliant. That is just good management to go, nope, we're not letting him play. And I'll be honest, I think Saints, as much as I love Hutchinson and Dingwall as players, you can't go against Mofana and Deporter in the midfield with those two guys in the midfield because there's no real power there. There's
I will say,
no,
I completely agree with you on the power front, but I would say Roy Hutchinson was fantastic.
yeah. I
I
just,
think more because I believe he went to fullback. I could be wrong.
I,
I feel like he went to.
I thought no because Freeman did apparently.
Or was it Freeman who did it?
Well,
Anyway,
I couldn't
Hutchinson just
tell.
felt like They might have just constantly rotated. There's a lot of teams that do that,
Yeah,
but
which
I just felt every time there was a bit of momentum on Saints' side, the camera would pan and you would see Hutchinson right rallying the troops. I'm like, oh, this is
yeah,
great.
yeah, I that's the thing that I say this with a slight caveat. Like I think that's the reason why like Dingwall is such a brilliant I think he's also a brilliant captain and he was done dirty with one of the decisions by Amateur Kelly, but we'll get onto that quickly.
Okay.
But Dingwall is a fantastic leader. And even though George Furbank is club captain of Saints, realistically, I think that that's Fraser Dingwall's team. He is brilliant in the sense of how he was just keeping the boys going. He was speaking to the referee well. He's a brilliant emotional driver. And he's a much better player than people give him credit for. He's a
Yeah,
glue
good point.
player.
Yeah.
He's a glue player. He like England improved when he went in the team. But I just don't. I just looked at it and thought that they couldn't get any game line because they were trying to go to width and they couldn't match the Bordeaux power. But
Yep.
they couldn't even truck it up the middle. So for me, I would have thought that having Dingwall at 12 and putting Freeman at 13, because every time that Freeman got the ball, he made meters. Every
Yeah.
time he made a carry, he was going forward and he had two people on him. Put him in that 13 shirt, have Dingwall there as like, right, I'm going to do that, and have Hutchinson drop deeper back. So he can have the ball playing ability that he was playing at 12. And again, I don't know if they were doing that, but I couldn't see it.
That's
But
fair.
the only place where I saw that Saints had the edge in that second half was the scrum. Ben Tamifuna must be having nightmares about young English looseheads because Manny Ayogun, who's took him apart, Tarek Kafar, who has taken him apart,
Oh
and
my God.
Finn Baxter did it last year. So those are three England looseheads. Two of them aren't even capped, taking on the big Tongan captain and absolutely dismantling him. He couldn't do a
Yeah.
thing in the scrum. In the loose, was quite good. I think he went a bit too hard too soon and was like, I'm feeling my size right now, Jesus. But like that's not a critique of him because what he's
No,
asked
no,
to
yeah.
do at being the size that he is, he was like. So when he did get into the scrum, it's like, oh God, these guys are. Oh my God, I can't do anything. Jesus.
I mean, there is one massive thing we need to talk about. Get the pulse checked again, and not in a good way.
Not even him. It wasn't him who did it.
Wasn't even him.
He
It
did
was.
the,
He told everyone to calm down.
which was probably a good thing to do.
But yeah, credit where credit's due. You got a 20-year-old living rent free in your head.
Oh my word, yes. I think on that, and I'll address these 2 points together. I
Okay.
have to say, as much as we think that Holly Davidson had maybe one bad decision, I'm not slamming Nika Amashikali here, and because I think that he is a very talented young referee who has risen very high very quickly and I personally think that he has done nothing but impress for the most part. That is the worst game I have seen him officiate, and it is just so unfortunate that it was a final
Yeah.
because there were so many decisions in that game where I thought I'm sorry, but that's wrong. I mean, the one where Pollock scores a try and it gets pulled back because Alex Coles has held on to Ben Tamafuna for too long. Realistically, yes, that's a foul. Why are you pulling it back though? Like Ben Tamafuna, again, not to be mean to him, he's 150 kilos. He is not making up the ground to touch Langan.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Yeah. The
not. He's not doing that. He's not.
on
If it's a
on
back
paper.
rower that Coles is
Yeah.
holding
Yeah.
back, yeah, absolutely. But it's a foul. Has to be pulled back. Fair. But why are you doing it? Why are you pulling that back? But then the high
Mhm.
shot on Timo Maina, which was a red card. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
a red card because he went off for AHIA, did not come back, and that's a yellow card. The amount of times that there are neck grabs in the game,
Oh
but
my God.
the neck grabs, as in Fraser Dingwall was grabbed by the neck in the game, spoke to Nika Amashikeli, and he said, no, there's no twist. So it's not a foul because it's not a
Yeah.
roll. And Dingwall just has to go,
What?
okay,
So,
I
so you can
understand you
grab.
saying that, but and then Bordeaux continues to just grab necks throughout the game. And I just think that
So when does it become a thing? Since when can you grab people by the throat? Which again, you're not allowed to do.
no,
As
you're
long
not
as you're
allowed
not.
to. I again, I'm not ref bashing. I'm not. It's an incredibly stressful job, and I don't know who'd want to be it because
Not
it's
me.
just thankless. No, not at all, not at all.
I'm all right.
I just look at it and go, there was so again, and my issue with this is why have you got a TMO who is not supporting the referee? Why
No.
is the TMO? The TMO is enabling the referee. Yes, the referee has the final say, but it's a bit like how the captain in a team, I have the final say, but I'm going to rely on my vice captain, my pack leader, my defensive captain to say,
Yeah.
look, we're getting beat here. I think we should do this. Okay, I'll take that on board. This is my decision. And
Mhm.
to be fair to Amisha Kelly, every time that the TMO blew something up, he would look at it and say, no, I've got that wrong. He took one look and went, no, that's wrong. I'm going to reverse that. So then why was that? But it was being brought up for so many things. It just felt like that's not. It felt like the TMO was just not looking at all the things that should have been looked at.
No.
And
I
I'm
mean,
being too harsh. I'm being too harsh here.
no.
But
I don't think you are. I get what you're saying. The neck thing. is baffling, and that's not just against Amish Kelly. That's just a thing in general. Like, don't grab. Why
It,
would you
it,
grab people's necks in the first place? What
if
are you trying
that's
to achieve?
if that's a rule that it's only a neck roll or a croc roll when
If
you
you
grab
twist,
something by the neck, if you twist, then that needs to be looked at. That needs to be you touch the neck, no. Because if that's true, if because I haven't got the law book in front of me here, if that's true for Amish Kelly, fair play, you followed the letter of the law. But this is when it's like people say a common sense law. Like Fraser Dingwall got bodied by the neck, and then if we go to the post match, but before I say that, I will say Bordeaux were the better team. They deserved to
Bordeaux,
win.
yeah, Bordeaux were the
Bordeaux,
better team.
Bordeaux were hands down better. They had the power game. They had the
Yeah,
physicality. They were getting to width better. Saints looked disjointed at times,
I
but
mean,
this is the second half. This is the
they
second
did
half.
deserve. They also did deserve it. I mean, top seeds, top
Top
try scorers,
seeds, top try scorers, best team by far in the competition. It's
mashed the defending champions in the semis as well.
Yeah, very rare that the best team in the competition some actually goes and wins the damn thing. Because there's definitely been years where that has not
Yeah,
happened.
no, that's fair. But yeah, credit where
But
credit, and also
but
credit to the Bordeaux fan that gave me this. So thank you.
oh, brilliant. But I will
Merci.
say, as much as I think that, you know what, the celebrations like that, that's loads of good fun. That's like, you know what, we're gonna do it because we've beaten this like because Pollock is the ultimate English archetype. That arrogant posh boy from the private school from England with his floppy hair and his devil may care attitude. The French largely the French hate that. So they are going to go against that type of English rugby player. And that's fine. All the housery is great. It just brings attention to the game. It brings eyes, and it's like, yeah, that's good fun. What's not
Yeah.
good is when you go after the game, when you're meant to be shaking hands, and you grab that kid by the throat, Jefferson Poirot. I'm going to name and shame you because you've been cited. You went and grabbed that kid's throat after the game and tried to have a go at him. But you weren't the only one. Loads of teammates rushed in and tried to man
No,
bag them as
I
well.
sent you I sent you the video because
You
obviously I was
did.
trying to like a match day vlog thing. I didn't put it in the match day vlog, but I recorded for a bit longer than I probably should have. And bear in mind, originally it didn't have anything to do with Poirot or Pollock. It was
No.
Curtis Landon and Mathieu Jalabert going at each other.
Oh,
And I think, again, I could be wrong. I wasn't on the field. I can't hear anything. What it looked like for me was Pollock's like, right, lads, shake hands. Like, with what the game
he
finished.
he ran in to split it up from the video
Yeah,
that you sent me, and then immediately got six
body.
on one. Yeah, and
Yeah,
we
not
they
just by
and not
Jefferson Poirot, because
no by everyone.
a lot of them had shorts and t-shirt on
Oh
and
yeah,
trainers, like travel reserve. You're
and
not
grab
playing.
no that for me. I that for me, Bordeaux have really let themselves down in a large extent because I do feel like a lot of the things that they've been doing is petty. They're pushing it. It's been funny. It's been great. It gives eyes to the game on that side. Some of the pictures with they're cold. It's like that's so you know what that Ben Tamifuna with the that's cold. That
That's
is
iconic. Yeah,
very cool. That's amazing. But some of the other stuff they're saying as well. I mean, also some of the blatant lies, like when they said that they were calling us mercenaries. I don't think one Northampton Saints fan
no,
player said that the entire week. I think it was actually again, it might have been. I'm sorry if it was not. It might have been Lawrence Dallaglio who said that they're a young club with lots of money.
yeah. So they've
Benjamin
had
Kaiser is very honest in saying that they have got a lot of money and they have spent. But Bordeaux are a combination of two of the oldest rugby clubs in France, in the second oldest region in France, in Bordeaux.
yeah,
That
big
was,
story.
I think it was Stade Bordelais and Bordeaux, and it might have been Begler. I think, and then they came together
Yeah, yeah.
as a union in maybe 2006 to be Union Bordeaux Begler. So the two clubs that were both from Bordeaux came together to be one Bordeaux. and
Yeah.
that's only been around since 2006. Racing have done the same thing. They combined with another club. La Rochelle combined with another club. I
It
mean,
happened. Yeah.
if you go back in England, Wasps and Harlequins came from Hampstead FC, and they split. So
Yeah.
they were the same club once. So it's a bit like there was all this. There's been all this chat, and there's been all these things set, but it's not actually pinned by a lot of the
The
two
bit that makes me
groups.
laugh, I think what Bordeaux's got wind of is England number 8 says this. Yeah, but that England number 8
Oh yeah, potentially, yeah.
was the number 8 before the one you think said it, before he was even born.
As in, your club when Delalio retired from international rugby, I think in 2007, I want to say, or
He was
just
just
retired from rugby, but UBB would have been a year old,
1 year old.
1 year old. So
It's so, do you know what it
he's
reminds
never
me of?
played you. No wonder he's called you, because apparently it was him who said it. But
Do you know what it
it's
reminds me of?
it
It's something
sours their
like
victory. It really
it
does.
does.
When
It's something like, and because I can say it because I don't like them. The Rock. It's something that the Rock would put up.
oh, rage bait.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it's. It's like they've put that out. Bordeaux players have caught wind of it. Immediately thought it was Pollock.
yeah.
But they've not actually read between the lines.
Never, never ever said it, and I don't think any Saints player said it. And I've sort of listened to other forms of media, and everyone said, "I don't think any Northampton Saints player said that."
No. But anyway, well done, well
The
done.
media have said it.
Yeah, the media have
The
said it.
media have
We've not.
certainly said it.
We are in the media, but we have not said it.
I no, I don't think they are mercenaries. I think if you've got the money, I'm a supporter of. If you've got the money and you can operate within the financial rules, do it.
Yeah, if you want to squad crack,
Absolutely,
crack
yeah.
on. Yeah,
If
why
I
not?
mean, if it wasn't, I mean, if we could, if let's say with the English clubs, because obviously the URC doesn't have a salary cap, so you've got Leinster who can spend. I don't know how much, but I'm just going to say around 15 mil. I think they can. I don't know if they can.
Mhm.
They might be able to, but they've got a bigger squad. But then you've got, because I've looked at this recently, the English Prem who can spend 6.3, but then with all of the accreditations they can spend up to 7.6, and then a marquee player on top of that. So let's say Bath spend 7.6 on the salary cap, and then they pay an extra mil to Russell. That's 8.6. That doesn't come close to some of the budgets in the top 14. If we
No.
did not have a salary cap, English teams could be a lot more competitive. Some of them that have got money, some of them.
So wait till Red Bull comes in. Just saying. Wait.
Red Bull will just be able to offer competitive salaries to all of their players to keep them there. And then they'll be able to pay a marquee player a lot.
Yeah.
But then there's financial security. Investors will come in, and then because everyone's security, up the salary cap because there's more security. So we can put it to 8.5. Like 8.5. Wow, that's great.
I think your headphones just went funny there. It sounded like your head was underwater. I heard what you said, but it sounded like you were doing like a weird. What I don't know what.
I think my voice went quite high because I got agitated. That might have been why.
All right, I don't know what happened there, but you're all good.
Yeah.
Shall
But
we move
anyway,
on?
Bordeaux
God.
were the deserved winners.
Yeah,
They were
absolutely.
brilliant. And
So, where do you want to go next? Because we're just going to touch base on the next two things because we've got the final round of the regular season of the Prem to decide the top 4 because that's still up for grabs. I've also got the quarterfinals now starting of the URC. So, where do you want to dive first?
well, you started with Prem, so shall we start with Prem?
Yeah, fair enough.
I feel like we can sort of wrap this up fairly quickly.
Well, you've got it. I believe you've got it on your phone. Of
I think I do. Do I
there is
still
still
have it?
there is still
Yes.
some at stake for the top 4 in the Prem. Not much though.
Cool. If I just quickly read
Yeah,
this out.
crack on.
So, for Leicester Tigers, 1 point from the final match. Sale Sharks, 2 or more points from their last game. Bristol Bears, any win secures a playoff spot. These are the teams that have the fate in their hands, in the sense of
Yeah,
they win, they're in.
yeah,
And then Gloucester Rugby are the results to go in their favour, and the same as the Saracens, it's the other results to go in their favour.
right.
Now, if we go
So,
into some of the games,
well, Leicester. Oh, need 1 point. They're hosting Newcastle Falcons. So Leicester
They've won.
Tigers are in. They're in the
They're
top
second.
four.
They're second.
Done.
Move on. Sorry, Falcons fans. You'd probably agree with us, but you're not going to Welford Road and winning. I don't care who've you got. You're not. Moving on.
Sale
Sale.
Sharks need what? 2 points, and they're away to my beloved
Two or
Exeter.
more.
They're
They.
away to Central Park.
I could see. See, I can see Sale winning. I can, but I can also see Exeter at home after the performance they put against Quins, where they were a lot better. It's probably the best I've seen them in months,
Hmm.
despite living offside, but that's another point. I won't get into that because I've already had that run. Um, they could absolutely get a loss with a try bonus point and a losing bonus point. They could absolutely. I don't think they'd want that, but if it came to that, I think they could get 2 points if they don't win. I think that's
See,
fairly comprehensive for them.
Saracens are hosting Bath. Now, Bath, they've been partying hard. They
Yeah.
have they have the Premiership wrapped up in a pretty little bow. They are actually like what, 20 points clear, if something like that.
Yeah, and
Not quite, but 15 points. Sorry.
they can rest their guys for a week and then they can have momentum going into the semi-finals, which a lot of
Yeah.
teams have done. They've had one where it's like, right, extra rest for you, then it's momentum 2 and
Yeah.
2.
They've
And
just they've just won a European title. They went full noise. I can't see them going full noise for this. And I'm not being disrespectful to Saracens. For Bath's end, this is a pointless game.
yeah, it's a dead rubber. And in a way, another way, the dead rubber game is also Bristol Harlequins because the decision for us to kick the ball off at the end of the game and not go for the bonus point. Which again,
You actually ruled yourself out of contention with that, didn't you?
yeah. So I I
Brilliant.
think I think it's because we could see that we weren't getting through. I mean, if I'm going to I'll quickly say this. I think we could tell, right, we're not getting over the line. They keep being offside. It's not being seen. We're not going to lose. So Danny's just going to kick it off. So I respect that. If they came
Fair
out and
enough.
said, oh, yeah, we could see that we couldn't score. So we're just going to kick it off, which is also a bad admission. But anyway. So what do Quins do? Because a couple of people have noticed online that Marcus seems to be standing very far back behind the gain line because he doesn't want to get injured for the Lions. So I could see a world where Quins just say, right, we're gonna send a good team because Danny Wilson has gone out there and said that we're always going to send a good team. We're not going to send a Shags team. So I think I can see where we send a good team, but
Yeah.
we don't necessarily send Marcus because Bristol. I mean, I would love it if we went to Bristol and then just upset them again because they also beat us on the last day of the season last year at the Stoop, and they did also ruin Marla's retirement. So in some ways, I would love it if we went there and beat them to say, haha, no top four for you. It would be amazing for me. But
They're still
at
such a
the,
weird team from a neutral point, though. Like they do well when they do well and they're on song, they are very hard to stop. However, they are wildly inconsistent at it.
I'd say they're more inconsistent than Quinn's because a lot of people can attribute Quinn's poor season to just a lack of power in the tight five. Like we've been out muscled, and then because we have no game line, we can't have a platform. That's arguably why. Like I would say that's why we have struggled this year. Which I hope with signings like Petty, Treadwell, and Turner, that
Yeah.
that will add power, which I think it will. But
So
but
who
but
do you who do
then
you have going? Who do you have going through in the top four? Bath,
who
obviously.
who's Gloucester playing? Because this is one where I think it's interesting.
See, Gloucester's got Northampton Saints. Now again, Northampton Saints can't get anything in the Prem. They've lost their title, effectively.
I It's so
However,
bad.
they
It's
also
so
lost the Champions Cup final. So, do they go full noise and get a redemption, finish on a high sort of thing, or do they go, season's done, lads?
I could see a world where, especially because of the laws of how many games you have to play in a season, I could see a world where they say, all right, well, Furbank's not going to play, Ram's not going to play, So I could see a world where they go, all right, Mitch, Finn, Pollock, Freeman, don't play. Everyone else, you can, because they don't want to injure them in a nothing game. Because that's the thing that I think players hate the most, that when they play in a nothing game and they get hurt in a nothing game and then they lose out on something. So arguably, I think that, but also, are they at Kingsholm or Franklin Gardens?
Yeah, is that King's home? Yeah.
Okay, so it's not even like they're at home and want to put up a good performance for their fans. I think that they potentially, I think that Bath and Saints, I think there's a chance that they will just send mixed teams to go. I think Quins will go stronger, but I think that they might not play Marcus.
I can see
So
I can see Saints going. I can see Saints going more mixed. I can see Bath going, as you put it,
I
Shags.
I could see Bath going Shags, and I could see Saints and Quins going mixed. Like their Lions players aren't playing. That's what I
Mm.
think will happen, but they will still send respectable teams because they don't want another loss. But from
Fair.
that, so
Bath
it's
have top
real.
spot.
It's real. Well, that's the thing. Bristol with any win secures a playoff spot. So does that mean that would be fourth if Sale? Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
okay, so all
yeah,
right. Let me answer the question. Leicester, I think, are second.
yeah.
Sale, I think, will be third. Do you know what? I think that there's a chance that Bristol can trip over and fumble. So
Uh,
I think I'd have to look. What? Uh, so Okay, so if I think Bristol will lose, I'm going to say that. I think Bristol are going to fumble it in some
yeah,
way, and Quins are going to spoil the party. And that's not just bias, that's also me saying that Bristol have a history of this.
that's fine.
They
Yeah.
do. So I'm going to say that. I don't think Bristol will make it. So I think it's between Gloucester and Saracens. And I think Gloucester and Saracens will both win their home games. And then I think it will come down to points. So I'm going to say that I actually, you know what? I'll go out on the limb. I think that Gloucester are going to make it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think that
Right.
Gloucester are going to make it because I think that they'll be determined to get that fourth place spot to play Bath in a West Country derby semi final. And I think that they'll want to try and spoil the party. So I'm going to back Gloucester to get fourth. I don't think it's gonna. I don't overly think it's gonna happen, but
So
I'm gonna say that.
okay, so I'll be different then.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Bears will fumble. I don't think they'll do enough. And you know what I love? I've just noticed it here, and this is what Premiership do so well, especially when it's that tight. Every game
It's
is
on
on the
wins, isn't it?
Saturday. Huh?
Oh, as in scheduling. Sorry, I thought you meant that it's on
Schedule. Yeah,
wins
yeah.
with the table.
No, no. On scheduling, all games on the final regular game of the season, Saturday, 31st of May, and they all kick off at 3:05.
Yeah, as they
Every
should,
single
because
game.
they're
Love
all
that.
televised as well.
Yeah. And it
Yeah,
also gives you that like football drama of yes, we've scored and oh this team's getting beat.
and then it's in the stadium like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh my god, they're losing.
So
What? And
I
yeah,
think Bears will fumble.
I don't know how.
However,
It could be a draw. I think it could be a draw. I don't think it will be
oh
like
no, I
it
don't do
could be.
draws.
No, but I think could take a three at the end of the game just to draw the game so Bears don't win.
Mm,
I honestly think that we could
fair
do
enough.
that to be horrible. Like a Don Brandt just goes to take the three, and then we go, "Sorry, Bristol, we've spoilt your party again, but you did
I
it to us," and the antipathy continues.
I have Saracens getting into that top
Yeah,
four.
that's fair. That's fair.
'Cause, see,
Are they
especially
fifth
because
or is Gloucester? Are they fifth or are Gloucester fifth?
it says here Gloucester at some points difference. Yeah, Gloucester aren't fifth.
Ah, okay. So that's another reason why I back Gloucester because I think that yeah, there we go.
There's a big chunk, to be fair, on points differential. To be fair,
Ooh.
so it could come in Gloucester's hand in favour, because Gloucester are on +74, Saracens are on +30.
Nah, yeah, okay. But Saracens could absolutely batter a Bath Shags team, but Gloucester could also rip apart a Saints team as they have done this year. Oh, okay. I'm really writing off Bristol here because I just don't. I just sorry, Bristol. No, I'm not sorry, Bristol fans. I just don't see enough mentality in that team because they love to throw it about. They love to just go wee. But then when it actually comes down to it, they don't knuckle down enough and
Yeah,
play right. We need to play smarter because as soon as they play smarter, they actually play worse. So they
fair.
need the mindset of you score, we score too. They need that, and I just don't always feel like they do it. So that's why I'm sort of discounting Bristol. I just think that they'll just muck it up again. But anyway,
Fair
that's
enough.
the Prem. You say
That's the thing.
Saracens, I say Gloucester.
Yep.
URC quarterfinals. Let's go.
So they're not all at the same time. We're not that lucky. You kind of have to watch it.
No, that's this is knockout. This is knockout rugby.
This is
So
not going to be.
yeah,
Every
it's a bit
game is a
different.
must watch. So Friday night, Glasgow Warriors versus the Stormers, a repeat of last year's quarterfinal at Scotland. I'll actually be there. So
Oh, lovely.
most likely my final game of the season, just because of how everything works.
Yeah,
I do have Glasgow winning. I
I
think
I
they've been
think
a
I
bit
would as
shaky at
well.
home. They've been a bit shaky recently, but they're starting to get the big boys back now. And this is the game you kind of need to be like, no, we are still defending our crown.
Yeah, I would say I would probably say Glasgow as well. Sorry, I've just had an alert on my phone of a signing for Harlequins.
Good hell,
Uh,
good hell.
very Stu Townsend.
Oh, we knew that.
Well, it wasn't officially confirmed, but it is now. So
Oh, okay.
I think okay, I'll briefly say what I think of that. With Danny Care retiring and our other nines, apart from Will Porter being very young and needing like guidance, I think Stu Townsend for a couple of years
Yeah, fine.
is a fairly decent sign. Will Porter's number one, but having a
Yeah,
man like Stu Townsend and Will Porter as your two nines, it's
not
not
too bad.
bad.
Yeah,
It's not too bad actually. So yeah, we'll briefly touch on that because I saw the alert. But
that's fine.
yeah,
It's all good.
I have Glasgow winning against the Stormers. I mean, I think they'll also miss Damien Willemse after his silliness.
Three ban into it. So he's out.
Yeah, but then two because he's going to World Rugby's tackle school, which I think is a sham and a half. I think that if it's a three-match ban, it's a three-match ban. You attend tackle school. No. You still get banned for 3 games. I think personally, I think it needs to be harsher, especially with what we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, after
But
what we spoke about last weekend with the stomping from the women's Pacific Four Nations,
oh, I've
three
just been
game ban. Come on now.
World Rugby says 2 games because you've gone to tackle school. I stamped on her, but you've gone to tackle school. That's how it feels. It feels
Yeah,
very
that's what it
silly.
feels. Yeah.
Feels very silly. Like okay, but anyway, Stormer, not
Sorry.
Stormers. Stormers will get beat by Glasgow.
There we go.
I do believe because I think that's. I mean, they've got returnees. I think it's got the home field advantage. I just think Glasgow will have that edge, and they'll want to prove that no, we're still good. We're still the champions.
Yeah.
We've slipped up a bit. We're going to do it. Is the next game Leinster Scarlets?
It is not. It is Bulls versus Edinburgh.
I actually can't call this game. I'm not just saying it because you're my friend and you're an Edinburgh fan. I genuinely do not know what is going to happen because based on the results we've seen this year, Bulls Edinburgh when it was at the Bulls, I think it was like a one-score game, and then
Yeah. And we played
when
crap. They barely beat us. Yeah, it's so weird.
yeah,
We were awful.
and then when Bulls came to Edinburgh, Edinburgh won. So it's a bit like they've played each other twice. This is like the okay, this is the shootout now.
Yeah.
Like but I look at it and think Edinburgh can match up physically to the Bulls, which a lot of people wouldn't think that. And I say this slightly harshly. A lot of people wouldn't say that a Scottish side could match up to a South African side physically, historically.
Yeah.
But Edinburgh have got some physical guys in their pack. Like you've got Grant Gilchrist, you've got Hamish Watson, you've got Ben Muncaster, you've got I mean, I don't think Freddie Douglas will play, but you've got Freddie Douglas, Magnus Bradbury, who likes to muck around. And then against the Bulls, I mean, Wilco Lowe and Pierce Schumann as a scrum battle. That's oh.
It's not going to move, is it? It's going to be like
I mean, it's just prime Afrikaans beef there. Just like
It's going to be like when two monster trucks collide and they're the same weight, so the wheels just
Yeah,
spin and nothing moves. Yeah, it's
it's
going to be
like
like
it's like when you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
that. Yeah,
Vilco Low, the 145 kilos. I miss Phil. I miss him. I wish he'd come back to Quince. I want him back, man. Anyway, I can see the altitude maybe being a factor, but if Edinburgh have been smart and have got down there as early as they can, which I hope they have,
I think we're
um,
on a flight today, I
oh,
believe.
today,
Yeah, we've not flown.
ooh,
I don't think we've flown out yet because they put out pictures of them training like yesterday, and it was at Edinburgh. So I don't think we've.
mm, I honestly can't call this game overly. If I am going to give it home field advantage, I might edge it to the Bulls. But I do think there's a chance that Edinburgh could do it because when Edinburgh want to be good, they are good. I think that's what it will come down
That's
to.
the annoying bit. You just hit that right in the head there. How annoying this season's been. When we want to do well, we do. When we just don't turn up.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to. So I would argue that yeah, if Edinburgh turn up and want to be good, especially for like potentially Jamie Ritchie's last game, Dave Cherry will be out, but I think that yeah, they want to be good, they will be good, and they could turn up and win. But I do think that the Bulls might have the edge here.
I'm backing my
So you
guy.
back your team. I'll
I'm
be the
backing
bad
my team.
guy here. I'll say that the Bulls might win. You don't have to say that. Don't
I'm
say
I'm
that.
back I'm back in Edinburgh just because everyone's not you, but like everyone online, the minute these were announced, were writing us off.
I think that's slightly changed. I think a few more people have come to like the yeah, actually, no, when rather than the instant reaction, it's been a oh, hang on,
Mm.
let me think that maybe. Which
Just saying, like
so
some of the players we should have available, like Duhan should be back as well, which is a
yeah,
massive boost. You've got Darcy Graham that is chomping at the bit for that
but
famous red
again, this
jersey.
this is a game where you have to turn up to be able to get that. Jamie Ritchie as well, if he's on the shortlist to get called up, he'll be thinking that too, maybe. Although I don't know how much Lions will be on the mind. It'll be more like I want to play well because I want to play well because I want to get to a
Yeah,
final.
it'll probably be in the back of their head, but
Yeah, it won't be the forethought. It will be the afterthought.
I have got Edinburgh winning. By how much though? I don't care. One,
One,
three,
two,
five,
three,
50.
30.
That'll be
Who
unreal.
who knows? Am I now right? Am I got this right that it's Leinster Scarlets next?
You're right now, yeah. It's Leinster Scarlets, and
I do think it is going to be Leinster because they need a trophy. They want a trophy. They are repeatedly annoyed at themselves for not getting it, and they're just like, why the fuck? Sorry, why the hell do we
you can
just
swear, let's
keep?
go.
Why the hell do we just keep messing up? And I will say it is probably going to be Leinster, but I think the Scarlets will give them a much better game than what people are saying.
Scarlets have nothing to lose.
No, they've
Which
been really good at the end of the season, and they will forever be immortalised if they, which sounds mad, they'll forever be immortalised if they beat Leinster because then everyone, I think a lot, well, okay, I'm sorry, Leinster fans, I'm not being horrible, but I think a lot of world rugby will cheer if Scarlets do beat you because
oh yeah.
there's been a lot of antipathy towards Leinster recently, which is somewhat deserved, somewhat not. But I think that Leinster have more than got the capability of winning this game. But if Scarlets play anything like how they did against which South African side was it? Was it the Sharks?
Sharks, yeah.
Yeah, if they give it anywhere near the amount that they gave it against
Mm.
the Sharks, they could
Could happen.
cause an upset. But moving on to the Sharks, Sharks Monster is by far the hardest game to call for me. I think it is by
Yeah,
far the
because
hardest game.
usually you would kind of lean towards South African bias at home.
And also, that Sharks team is filled with pretty much all of the World
Plus
Cup winners who
Springbok
know
Rovers,
how
yeah.
to get into. I think I said this recently. That Sharks team in knockout stage rugby I think that they are the scariest opposition to face because they know how to win a knockout
Yeah.
competition. They won the Challenge Cup last year, and they know how to get shit. I'm going to swear now. Get shit done in a quarter semi-final because they know how to do it. Because you're littered with the World Cup winners. But
They're saying that if there's any team that
Munster have spoilt the party in South Africa.
if there's any team that doesn't go, oh, we're going to South Africa, it's
Oh, it's
Munster.
Munster. Oh
Munster is
my
like,
God.
bring it on, yeah.
They do not care. They do not care. I mean, they won their URC title where they beat Leinster in the semi final or the
Yeah.
quarter final, and then went to Stormers' own back garden to win it.
And still came
Like,
out on top. Yeah,
I
absolutely
mean, I
mental.
also, if we're talking Lions, Jack Crowley will be thinking, right, I should be the guy who gets called up, not Prendergast, and he will be wanting to just. It's so hard because I would lean to the home advantage of the Sharks because they've got
Hmm.
home advantage, but that Munster team know how to win a knockout game away from home.
You know what? The more I think about it, I'm going to go two home, two away. I've got Glasgow, Edinburgh, Leinster, Munster. No South Africans in the top four.
I was going to say, are you just trying to get the South Africans out with those
No,
predictions?
no, because I don't think the Stormers can beat Glasgow at Scotstoun. It'll
No,
be a good,
that one is
it'll be a
fairly
tight battle.
like Stormers also have travelled pretty poorly this year.
The Bulls can absolutely beat Edinburgh. I'm not
Oh,
denying that.
and the Sharks can absolutely beat Munster, but out of probably the two most difficult games to call, it is Bulls Edinburgh and Sharks Munster. Sharks Munster by far is the most, but then Bulls
That's the
Edinburgh
toughest
is like
game.
is the clear second because I think everyone else is saying that Leinster will probably beat Scarlets and Glasgow we think will beat the Stormers.
But hey, anything can happen in knockout rugby.
If you're gonna back Munster, I think that I will back the Sharks just because I
That's
think
fair.
that when you look at who they have in the team, Oxenche, Umbanambi, Unyakane, Koch, Etzebeth, Sia Khaleesi,
Yeah.
Grant Williams, Andre Esterhazen, Lucanio Am, I said Etzebeth, Mapimpi, Fassi, all of these lads who went and won the World Cup, some of them twice. They know how to do it. So, and I think this is when the Sharks will be at their scariest, when they will smell blood in the water, because they will
Hmm.
think. I'll say it: if it's a Sharks Leinster final, I can see Sharks winning it because they know how to win a final.
There we go. There we go.
And
Well, we'll leave it at that
we
because
will
we've
leave it at that.
dived into a lot. But we'll be back next week talking about the quarterfinals of the URC, and we will have our top four from the Prem in place. We'll talk about that as well, and probably any other rugby news that comes our way. But until then, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and we'll be back next week. Until then, enjoy yourselves, have a good one, and Harry, always a pleasure, mate.
Always a pleasure.
And we'll see you later.